Hey, fam. I am in Alabama. I wanted to share an experience I had just over the weekend, and all the last week, I should say. Leading up to today, I'm currently in a studio, fresh off of us coming from the podcast summit, hosted, created, pulled off by the one and only David Shands, where there were so many speakers on stage, the experience. I don't even think I can put into words right now what that experience has been, because it was so much that I really have to sit and process, and took notes, copious notes.
Welcome to the Awaken to Purpose podcast, a podcast by survivors for survivors of childhood sexual trauma and chronic illness warriors. Here, we get honest about healing, transformation, and awakening to our God-given purpose. Hi, I'm Larissa, mother, author, nonprofit founder, survivor empowerment coach, and your host. Around here, we shift mindsets, change the narrative, and create a new norm from a faith-filled lens. So let me ask you, have you ever wished someone would speak more openly about the complexities of healing? Ever longed for a space that sees you without judgment or performance? You are not alone. This podcast is anchored in Revelations 12:11 and Romans 12:2. We're breaking silence, reassigning shame, and healing forward. Join me. Let's journey to free and awaken to purpose together.
I need to go through now and sit and process and take what I need and apply, and then leave the other stuff. So I've been doing and still am doing everything as I've done before as it pertains to Journey to Free. Now I'm in this podcasting space. And it's been a challenge, I'm not going to lie, because it's another part of this journey that I'm taking on that is very foreign to me. It is so foreign. This is all fresh. So there's a learning curve. And if I'm going to be honest, I've said it a couple of times on my podcast that I ran away from this journey for quite some time, but I'm here and I'm embracing the journey. And as I'm embracing the journey, this is a part of what led me here, because I've been a part of this community for a little bit now, literally a little bit at the beginning of the year. And one of the things that I'm learning in real time is being intentional about knowing exactly where I'm at, what I need, and moving towards it. And a part of that for me looks like stepping out of my comfort zone, not making excuses anymore, not allowing the limiting beliefs to keep me trapped anymore. And yes, at this big old age, I still struggle with that, because it's a journey. I've been there. I have not completely healed from some of the stuff. But what I'm also not doing is continuing to play small. So, with that said, that led me here. And oh boy, did I feel like a fish out of water at some point? Yes, I did. Because this was a major room, right? As in attendance. It was a lot of people there. And even in that space, I have to say I am proud of myself, because I wasn't as nervous. I wasn't as hypervigilant as I've been in the past. I was more alert and aware. One of the biggest things for me, though, is being able to realize in real time levels of growth. And I'm proud about that. And let me be more specific as to areas in which I've grown. I have been able to not just come here by myself, because a lot of you will know that's not something I do or have done over the years. I always have somebody with me or travel with my children or whatever. So even that is a thing for me, traveling by myself and being okay with that. It sounds crazy, right? Because I'm a full adult. But I realized after a while that my comfortability wasn't there traveling by myself for varying reasons. We'll not get into that right now. So traveling by myself, even though I met up with my friend here, being in that space, at times we had to separate, and I was good with that. There wasn't any anxiety behind being in the space with all of these people. And that I had to work up to, because prior to coming here, every time I thought about it, oh my gosh, there's going to be over 2,000 people in this space. And what is that going to look like? And let me just say, I amped it up so much in my head that if I had allowed it, like I've done in previous years, I would not have shown. But I came. And let me tell you, it wasn't bad at all. Yes, there were some nerve-wracking moments, but to be honest, the nerve-wracking moments came because even in spaces like this, you're dealing with different types of energy, and being able to sit with all of that and navigate and remind yourself, whatever, the energy may be off in this particular area or this particular space, but it's okay. You're good. You're safe. And if it becomes too overwhelming, it's okay to excuse yourself from the situation. Or in real time, like I did, it's reminding myself, you're safe. Ain't nothing gonna happen that you don't want to have happen. So it's been a journey, but I will say this, I learned so much. It was over the course of 4 days. And there were just speakers after speaker, all sharing valuable insights as to how to not only grow your business, how to operate. So they spoke about systems, how to implement certain things. But one of the things I can honestly say was a major takeaway and also a constant reminder is the importance of using your voice. It's the fact that everyone has a story. None of us are competing, because even being in that space, it's seeing and hearing in real time all the different podcasters, all the different podcasting ideas, and seeing how different the storylines are, and understanding why podcasting is so necessary, because you get a platform to share your voice and to add prayerfully healthy conversations, positive things. There's no shortage of other types of platforms out there, but when it comes on to having real hard conversations about what so many of us have gone through, whether through childhood or young adulthood, whatever the case, adults, and how we all experience that, what it did to us, what we're learning, unpacking, relearning, all of that. There's space for everyone, and the fact that in order for us to not just heal, but to help others on their story, on their journey rather, this is what it's going to require. And I'm reminded of that every single day, in every space I go, with everyone that I meet. You're hearing these stories of survival, you're hearing these stories of transformation, you're hearing these stories of resilience. And the stories is what sits with me and gets me every single time, because you have a story, right? But then when you hear others, for example, there was this young man yesterday that just by chance he decided to open up about his experience, and I'm sitting in that space and I'm listening to this young man share his testimony of a severe accident that he met in, a motorcycle accident, and he died, right? Twice, not just once. Died on the highway, and then he coded again on the way to the hospital. And to see that young man show up in that space, brace and all, pain and all the different things that he's still healing from, and the surgeries that he has already gone through, and that which he must continue to go through, because I think he said he had 5 surgeries remaining, but it never stopped him. He still showed up. And while he was there talking, the beautiful thing about it is that everyone that was under the sound of his voice just kept encouraging him that he needs to start a podcast and he needs to share. There was someone else in the space that literally just got out of prison. I think, if I'm not mistaken, don't quote me, but 20 years that he served, and he's only been out a year. And what he has been learning, and how he has been transitioning, and what that transition looks like for him. All of these stories are relevant. All of these stories have differing audiences. But the point is, no matter the story, there is a space for it. The conversations are needed. Why? Because there's someone that's experiencing the same thing that we have gone through. And so I know that was a lot. I went all over the place, but it's been a very full week. I am still in processing mode because I really didn't get a chance to really sit down yet, except for right now. But when I tell you it was a beautiful experience, and just to recap, my growth being in these spaces, what I learned listening to the varying stories, even from the speakers and how they got to where they are, it was a reassurance for me, and needed reassurance as to it doesn't matter what it looks like for me. I have my own lane, and to stay in that lane. Because for the couple people that already know my story or who just learned parts of my story over this past week, everyone is going, girl, whether I got, where's your book? Or why is this that nobody knows about you? All of these things, right? It's that reassurance that we all do have a story, and we all do need to be about talking about that and what that looks like, whatever the version is. Because at least for me, the goal is showing people that they're not alone on their journeys. And so, if nothing else, that was my takeaway from this. It's reassuring me, it's encouraging me, it's reigniting things in me that there's a space for me. Likewise, there's a space for you. There's a space for all of us.
To everyone listening, if you're standing on the edge of your own version of Alabama, some room that feels too big, or some steps that feels too foreign, I want you to hear me. You are allowed to be a beginner. You are allowed to feel like a fish out of water and still show up anyhow. Your story has a place. It doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Lord, I thank you for every person who showed up in that room with their testimony, and I thank you for every person listening right now who's still working up the courage to tell theirs. Remind them today that they are not alone on this journey. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, friends, if this stirred something in you, I want you to know that what happened to you was not your fault, and healing is sacred work. If you or someone you love is struggling in the U.S., you can call or text the National Sexual Assault Hotline at 800-656-4673 or the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988. In Jamaica, contact the office of the Children's Registry at 888-776-8145 or the Victim Service Division at 888-991-4664. Thank you.
So, thank you for being here with me, listening to me yammer on. I needed to get that off my chest real quick. So, I'll see you soon. From my heart to yours. Love ya. Bye.
Listen, Defiant Disruptors, if this episode hit your gut, spirit, chest, good. That means it's time to put silent suffering to rest. If it challenged you, stretched you, or gave you language to what you've been carrying, don't just scroll. Share it with someone who needs to reassign the shame they've been burying. Like, subscribe, because around here, we dismantle lies, conquer fears, we speak and renew our minds, because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the words of our testimony. We refuse old narratives that keeps us in disguise. This is bigger than a podcast. This is a movement. So until next time, shift the mindset, change the narrative, and let's create new norms. Join me as we journey to free and awaken to purpose together. From my heart to yours, Larissa.